Great, thank you, Michael. Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are, everybody. As Michael mentioned, my name is Jeff Spain. I'm one of our solution consultants at Interdyne BMI. We are going to be talking today about Microsoft Dynamics CRM sales productivity. For those that aren't really familiar with Dynamics CRM, Dynamics CRM comes with several areas of functionality, and they can kind of be loosely categorized as sales, service, and marketing. So we're going to be focusing today pretty much on the sales side of Dynamics CRM. One thing that you need to know if you're not familiar with Dynamics CRM, it is a configurable application, meaning it is meant to be configured to meet your business needs. And that might be something as simple as adding a field to a screen that we can capture data into, to something maybe a little bit more elaborate of building out workflows, which is automation inside a CRM. What I'm going to be using today is a CRM site. It is a live CRM site. The current version of Dynamics CRM is CRM 2015, Service Pack 1 if we want to get technical. That's been out since the spring here of 2015. I do have a couple of minor configurations that I'll point out, but pretty much I'm using the sales productivity tools that are coming out of the box with Dynamics CRM. Michael mentioned that we will have time at the end. I'm trying to save at least 10 to 15 minutes at the end to answer your questions. Again, if you can use the comment or the hand-raising feature on the icon bar on the right-hand side, that would be appreciated. We have a lot of attendees today, so having everybody just spill out their questions verbally just probably wouldn't work. But I'll answer those questions at the end. If for some reason we don't get to them, or if you have a question later on, feel free to email me. You should see my email address on the screen here. It's jeff.spain@interdynebmi.com. Feel free to email me, jot that email address down. I can answer any of your questions afterwards as well. So our agenda for today, again, we're going to talk about sales productivity. These are the things that you're going to see in action inside the live product here. So we're actually going to be importing some lead records into the system. The idea being maybe we attended a trade show or a conference and we got a list of names from that trade show or conference, and we're going to import those people into our lead system. Leads in CRM are prospects, okay? And I would even say that they're unknown or unqualified prospects. We're going to work with those lead records and one in particular. We are then going to log some activities and kind of nurture that lead along the way, to the point where hopefully we want to qualify that lead into some potential business. And at that point, we're going to be creating what's called an account, a contact, and an opportunity. At that point, we're going to then work with that opportunity. Opportunities are important in the sales process in Dynamics CRM. Opportunities are what's going to feed most of our pipeline reporting that management will be looking at, as well as our individual sales reps that are, maybe have goals and that type of thing to meet. Using the opportunity system. I'll show you some of those in some of the out-of-the-box charts that come with CRM and show you some of that reporting capabilities. We're also going to then take that opportunity into the next step, and we're actually going to generate a quote or a proposal for the customer and actually generate a document that we can deliver to the customer. So in my company today, I am a manufacturer of lighting systems in my company. And one of the products that we have, you see on the left-hand side of your screen. It's a pretty neat little headlamp, an LED headlamp that people use for camping, hiking. It could be used in coal mining, that kind of thing too, but it's basically a headlamp. And we're going to try and sell some of those to one of our leads that come into that came to the trade show or the conference. Okay, so let's get into it here. All right, you should be looking at my Dynamics CRM, and I've logged into the system already. There's multiple ways that your users can access CRM. The native way is through a browser. So CRM is a browser-based application, and you can see here I'm just in a browser. I happen to be in Google Chrome, but CRM works in Chrome. It of course works in IE. It works in Safari, as well as Firefox. So those are the 4 supported browsers by Microsoft. But your users can also access CRM data in some mobile applications that I'll talk about later, as well as their Microsoft Outlook. So if your users are using Microsoft Outlook as their email client, they can access CRM through that application as well. And we'll touch on that very briefly through the presentation here. But I've logged into CRM through a browser, and I've landed on my home page, which just happens to be a dashboard. We'll come back and review some of these charts in a little bit more detail later on in the presentation. But I'll just point out one here. If you look on the right-hand side, this last chart on the right, this is a goal progress chart. I'm kind of wearing two hats today. I am a salesperson at my company. I'm also a manager of several other salespeople at my company. Okay, so I wear multiple hats in our sales world here at my fictitious company. If you look at these are my goals. These are my individual goals that I have, and I have a goal per quarter. Okay, well, we're just wrapping up quarter 3 here and starting quarter 4. If you notice here, I haven't really met my goals for quarter 3. It's probably too late for that, so I'm going to be focusing on quarter 4 here. But you notice I don't really have any potential revenue or actual revenue recorded for quarter 4 yet. And so that's what we're going to work on today. Okay, so we're going to start by actually importing some lead records. So we attended a trade show, and I think in my example it's a conference, and we got a list of names from that conference. Now this list of names could have come from anywhere. It came in an Excel spreadsheet. I basically save that spreadsheet as a comma delimited file. Very easy to do, just do a file save as, and we're going to import that spreadsheet. So I'm going to navigate to the lead area of CRM. And we have all kinds of views that I can look at. So I do have some open leads that are in the system. If I click on the open lead view, there are some existing leads that are out there. We're not going to focus on those today. I created another view just for the purpose of our presentation today. That here's a list of leads that were created today. Now you notice the list is empty, but this should get filled up after we do the import in just a minute here. So let's go ahead and start that import process. So CRM has an out-of-the-box import. And again, I'm importing from a comma delimited file. So I'm going to click import, and then I'm going to go ahead and choose my file. So I have that file just saved on my hard drive here or on a network drive. And we'll go ahead and open that up. Okay, I'm just basically clicking next here. I have done other imports like this in the past. So we've attended trade shows and conferences, and I format that Excel file kind of in the same format. That makes it a lot easier when I'm looking to do the import. So I can save that mapping that I've done, which is basically mapping the columns in my Excel file to the lead fields in my lead record, and I save that to save myself time every time I do this import. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that previously saved mapping here. And we'll just go ahead and finish this thing out. Okay, so that import process is running in the background now. We can actually view the import process. I'm going to go ahead and click this import button here in a minute, and we can kind of view the status of the import. But typically, depending on how many records you're trying to import, that could take anywhere from 1 minute to 20 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on if we're importing thousands of records. Now, in today's presentation, I'm only importing a handful of records, so it shouldn't take very long. Just a couple other things about leads in general. So leads, again, are prospects. Generally, they're unknown people. We can import leads as we're doing right now. Leads can also be manually entered in the system. If I look over here on the left-hand side, there's a little plus sign to just add a new lead record into the system. Leads can also come from your Outlook. So if I was in my Outlook client here, which I just jumped in here, I might have an email. If you look at the one that I'm highlighting right here, there's an email from Chad Williamson. And I've already tracked this email into CRM. Well, I can convert that email into a lead record. So if somebody emailed me and maybe inquired us, or maybe they emailed sales@mycompany.com, and I get those emails in my inbox, I can quickly turn those emails into a lead record. We can also create lead records sometimes through a website. And so if you have a page on your website where people maybe fill out like a contact us, or maybe that they fill out a page to download some sort of information or a white paper, we can convert that information into a lead as well. Now that does require an add-on to CRM, so like a third-party product. The one that I'm referring to is a product called Click Dimensions. If you have never heard of Click Dimensions, I highly encourage you, of course, after the webinar, to Google Click Dimensions and check out some of their videos. It's a marketing add-on to CRM, and it does much, much more than just this website thing that I'm talking about. But let's go ahead and check our import here. So I click the import button there, and this will give me the status of the import. Well, here it is right here. We started at 12:08 Central Time, and it is completed. And it looks like it imported 4 records. There were no errors. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish the import button here, and then you'll see magically on my view, the open leads created today, there are our 4 new lead records. The one we're going to focus on today is Frank Goodrich, but I'm going to direct your attention over here to the last 2 columns here. So in my file, in my conference file, my import file, our leads, when they filled out a card at our trade show booth, they indicated what product line they might be interested in. Okay. Now for this purpose of the demo, I just call it product A, B, and C. Okay. Don't have to do that. I'm just trying to give you a demonstration on what could happen. And if you look at the second to the last column, the owner field in CRM is the person responsible for that record. In this case, it's a lead record, right? These are my salespeople. Well, you notice that they're different. Okay, so I'm listed on a couple of them. The Jamie Crawford and Daniel Nicholas are listed on one each. What I have defined in CRM is a rule. Okay, and it's called a workflow rule. That workflow rule says if there is a lead that gets created in the system, whether it's from an import, manually, or from the website, and they've defined this product that they're interested in, product A, B, or C, I'm assigning the sales rep based on that product. So obviously I'm the guy that's in charge of product A. That's why I have the 2 leads that are categorized as product A. Now we could do that very same thing based on territory, zip code, any field that we want to categorize and basically assign to the sales reps that maybe will be working these leads. We have a customer that I've worked with that does this very thing by zip code. And so one of the things that we do when they import lead records or create lead records is we validate the zip code that they're putting in. Is this a real zip code in the United States? One thing I learned through that project, there's 50,000 plus zip codes in the United States. And so we have a table that just stores all those. We downloaded that from the US Mail website, but we manage those zip codes so that we can validate those when we do an import of leads, and then we assign the sales rep based on those zip codes. But in my company here, we just assign it based on the interested product. I'm going to open up Frank Goodrich's contact record, and this is what we call the lead form. Okay, so a couple things that I'll point out. There's information that we captured at the conference. Obviously Frank's name, his job title, he's a VP of Purchasing. If I just scroll down a little bit, looking on the left-hand side here, Frank works for Gander Mountain. Okay, if you're not familiar with Gander Mountain, that's a real company. It is a camping and hunting retail store. So Frank is a purchasing agent at Gander Mountain. Their corporate headquarters is here in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm showing a map of their corporate headquarters or their address that's listed above here. This is actually an interactive map. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can click on the map and it'll pop me out to Bing Maps, and I could get directions to their location if I need to go visit Frank. Okay. A couple things that are kind of neat that are available to you if you're running CRM online. So I should have probably mentioned in the very beginning that CRM, Dynamics CRM by Microsoft, can be deployed in 2 different ways. It can be run online, which basically means Microsoft is hosting your CRM site and you're accessing it through the internet, or you can do what's called an on-premise deployment, and that's where we actually install the CRM software on a server at your location or maybe a hosting partner's location, and you actually have the software running on one of your servers. Software is exactly the same. There's no difference in the software. It's just the licensing is different. How you pay for the software is different. If you choose to go CRM Online, which is the most popular version today, again, hosted by Microsoft, is they give you for free an out-of-the-box integration to another Microsoft product called Inside View. You see an example of that over on the right-hand side of the screen. I have a little area here called Insights. So we just imported this lead, Frank Goodrich, who happens to be the purchasing guy at Gander Mountain. And what this is doing is giving me some third-party data about this company, Gander Mountain. So I can see some recently, if they were in the news recently, I can view those articles. If I click data, this is going to give me more information just about Gander Mountain in general. What's their annual revenue? How many employees do they have? Are they public or private? If I go to people, I can get a list of maybe some other key contacts that work for Gander Mountain Corporate. And then I can actually interact with this data. If you notice, there's a sync button here. If I click that, I can actually make contacts in my CRM database for that person. Okay. I can also synchronize maybe some of this company data, like the number of employees, the annual revenue, with fields that I have already built in my CRM system. So it's kind of a neat little tool. Microsoft, this inside view is gathering this information from multiple sources. You can kind of see the sources listed here on the bottom. If you hover over them, it'll tell you what they are. But S&P Capital for one, Equifax, that is a popular company for credit checks and that kind of thing. So they're getting their information from multiple sources, and we have found it's been pretty accurate. So it's a nice little add-on if you go to CRM Online. You can use that information. Okay, the other thing I want to point out here is this little ribbon up on top. So this is a business process flow. So in my company, I've defined a sales process. Now this is completely configurable for your company. So don't get too hung up on, well, what does the develop stage mean, and what does the propose stage mean, and what's the close stage mean? Those are all configurable. But in my company, my sales go through a 4-stage process. Okay? We start at the qualifying stage. Once we qualify the sale, we will move into the develop stage. And that's basically where I'm going to capture more information. And then I move into generating a proposal for the customer. And then I move it to the closing stage where I'm basically waiting to hear yes or no from the customer. Okay? You notice that these stages here, starting at develop, propose, and close, they have a little lock on them. And that's because we are using the full CRM system. We're starting with a lead record. That's just a prospect. If I qualify this lead record, I'm going to then have an opportunity record. And an opportunity record is a little bit more tangible. That's what's going to be feeding our pipeline reporting and that kind of thing. So until I qualify this, these stages are going to be locked down. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and work with Frank's contact or lead record here. I'm going to follow these steps here. So these individual fields that you see here are all the steps that I've defined in my qualifying stage. So I'll just quickly go through a couple of these. So existing contact, existing account. What that is that's a lookup. And I want my salespeople to click on that to see if anybody shows up in this list. What this is trying to accomplish is Frank Goodrich might already be in our system. He might be a contact that already works for Gander Mountain, and Gander Mountain might already be a company in our system. They maybe did business with us 10 years ago. Okay, so I want my sales people to see that are they already in the system? And if so, let's choose that record. Then when we qualify Frank, it won't create a new contact record, and it won't create a new account record for Gander Mountain. Now, my lists were empty, so I can assume that we really haven't done business with them before. So I'm going to leave those empty. Then I just have a field of purchase time frame. I'm going to say this year. I'm going to hint that it's going to be maybe a $30,000 project, so I'm going to hope that their budget's $30,000. What's the purchasing process? Is it an individual? Is it a committee? Again, these are all configurable. I'm going to capture just a little bit of summary. So I'm just going to put there looking at our headlamps. Okay, we'll tab off of that. And then I just have one more process in my step here, and that is going to be to, if I want to send a PDF catalog to Frank, I've defined a workflow in CRM. I mentioned workflow a few minutes ago. Workflow is the automation engine, and what that can do is automate things. So the idea is if I check this box saying, yes, send them the PDF catalog, that's going to trigger a workflow to automatically send Frank an email with our catalog, our PDF catalog, attached to that email. Okay, so that's an example of kind of combining the workflow engine in Dynamics CRM with this business process flow ribbon that's up on the top. Okay, so I'm working my way. Looks like I've got most of the information. I'm going to kind of take a tangent here, and I've talked to Frank on the phone, and I've actually set up an appointment where I went and visited Frank in downtown St. Paul. Okay, so I'm sitting in my car right now, and I want to log my meeting information that I had with Frank. If you look on the screen here, in the middle section here, this little middle section serves many purposes, but one of the main purposes it serves is a list of all the activities that we've had with this record. So this is where I would see all the phone calls, the appointments, the tasks. If Frank and I have exchanged emails, I can tag them in Outlook, basically click a button in Outlook, and those emails would show up here. And they're all listed here in chronological order, the most recent being up on the top. So every time I call up Frank's contact or lead record here, I will see all of the activities that we've had. Now Frank's a brand new lead record. We just imported him minutes ago. So I haven't had any activities with Frank yet. But again, I'm kind of switching gears, and I went and visited Frank on site. Now, when you're on site, I don't necessarily want to drag my laptop out and open up a browser and get to this screen that we're on right now. Rather, maybe that would be a good use of the CRM apps that are available. Okay, so what I'm doing is I have the app running on my laptop, but this is the app that you would be running potentially on a tablet device. iPads, Surface tablets, so iPads are Apple products, Microsoft tablets, as well as Android tablets, all have an app available for free. I always hate to say for free because you get it as part of your CRM licensing, so you are paying for it. But you can download these apps from the respective store and configure it to talk directly to your CRM system. So this is an app version that you'd be running on a tablet. There's the same app version available for your smartphones. Again, iPhones, Windows phones, Android phones. Go to the respective store, download the app, and you can get to basically the same information. Now it looks a little bit different on the phone. If you just think a tablet screen versus your phone screen is going to be a little smaller. So it's going to look a little bit different, but in essence you're going to be looking at the same thing. So you notice here, there's my Frank Goodrich contact record. If I click on that, this is his lead record. I just misspoke there. I said contact record, but he's technically still a lead. And here's his lead information, the same information that we were seeing on the full browser version of CRM. So as I scroll down here, I can see his company name. Here's those 4 stages of my sales process, and we are currently in the qualifying stage. And if you look here, you see all the fields that were filled in on that qualifying stage. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I can update this information from my tablet or my phone, but what I really want to do is log an activity. So I met with Frank. We had a pretty good meeting, but there's a to-do that came out of our meeting, and I want to log that to-do as a task, an activity task for me to do later. Okay, so what I'm basically doing, and I'm going to actually do this on my phone because I want to show you kind of a cool little feature that you get. It's just native to doing things mobile. But I'm going to go ahead and click this activities button, and you notice again there are no activities for Frank yet. Okay, I'm basically looking at the same screen on my phone, and what I'm doing on my phone is I'm going to log a new activity, and I'm going to log a new task activity. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You really won't be able to see me do that because I'm doing it on my phone, but what I'm doing right now is just filling in a due date. I'm going to make that due date, and a nice little calendar pops up. I'm going to make that due date tomorrow, or Friday the 25th. Okay, and then what I'm doing right now is just going to put a subject on my task, and I'm just typing this on my phone. I'm not a big fan, I got big thumbs here, so I'm not a big fan of typing it on my phone here, but I'm just going to put send catalog as the subject. And then I'm going to go into the description area, and I'm going to log a longer description note here. Now again, I don't really like typing on my phone here, but my phone, it happens to be an iPhone, has the voice to text button. And most smartphones have this. So rather than me typing my note, I'm going to go ahead and recite my note. Again, this is a task that I'm creating for myself anyway. I'm going to go ahead and recite my note, which will save me a lot of time from having to type this out. So let's go ahead and do that. You'll probably hear my phone chime a little bit, but I'll go ahead and recite the note here. All right, here we go. I had a great meeting with Frank, period. He thinks they may purchase a large volume of headlamps by the end of the year, period. Frank is also into craft beer, period. Make sure you bring him some Surly Furious when you deliver the documents, exclamation point. Okay, so I just stopped my voice to text, and that has filled in my meeting description here. It looks pretty good. You know, it's obviously translating my voice, so sometimes if I stumble on words, it's not going to be the greatest, but I did a pretty good job here. For those of you that don't know, I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota here, and we have a local brewing company called Surly, and they make a pretty popular beer in the Twin Cities here, craft beer called Surly Furious. So that's where that came from. I'm going to go ahead and hit done, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save here. And again, at this point, I'm done logging my activity. So looking at your screen here now, I'm just going to click on the subject here, which is going to sort the activities by that column. Again, there's no activity showing yet, but now that I sort it, there's the activity that I just logged in my phone call, or on my phone. Okay, so if I click on the subject here, I can view the details behind there. And here's the description that I just recited using the voice-to-text feature on my phone. Okay. So again, using the mobile apps to record information, but especially to log our activities. Now that could have just as well been an appointment activity. That could have been an email. It could, in this case, it was a task that I set to do. Now that task is going to show up in all kinds of places. Obviously, it shows up in my apps here. So if I go back to my home screen, one of the things that I have here is a list of my activities. And some of the activities that you see here is there's that send catalog activity. So I'll get reminded of all the things that I need to do on my app. If I go back to CRM, there'll be a view, it could be on my dashboard, of all the open activities that I have. And because I have the Outlook client installed, if I go to my Outlook client here, and I'm just going to go ahead and force a synchronization. Sometimes it'll synchronize every 10, 15 minutes or so. And since that activity just got created, I just want to make sure that it's that a synchronization has taken place. But if I navigate in my Outlook now and go to my Outlook task, look what we see here, send a catalog. If I open up that task in my Outlook, here it is. There's my meeting notes. We saw that it was due on Friday the 25th. Now I can go ahead and mark this as a completed task right in Outlook. That'll mark it as a completed task in CRM. I could go into CRM either via the app or the web version, do the same thing, mark it as completed. It will then disappear off my to-do list in Outlook. The nice thing about that Outlook interface is it's interfacing with our Exchange server, and since my phone is also linked to our Exchange server, I'll get reminders of this as my iPhone task and reminders. So we'll see this to-do thing show up in multiple places, but eventually I'm going to go ahead and mark it as a completed task. Okay, so let's go back to the web version of CRM. So I did not leave this screen, so just to kind of show you, I'm just going to get off the activities for a minute and go back to activities, and then there's that activity again that we recorded on my phone here. Okay, so that's an example of logging activities. I could log a phone call here and add a second activity to Frank's record here, but just to save time, I'm gonna move on here. So I had a good meeting with Frank, got a little bit more information. Again, if I want to send him a catalog, but I'm actually going to hand deliver the catalog. That was the purpose of my task that I created. And of course, I'm going to bring him a 6-pack of beer too. But I'm ready to qualify Frank. We had a good meeting. I now want to make this something a little bit more tangible that's going to feed our pipeline reporting. So if you notice up on the top here, there's a couple buttons. There's qualify and there's disqualify. So if I did not have a good meeting with Frank, I could just as well disqualify the lead. So that keeps the lead out there. We can always reactivate the lead. We can mark it to disqualified leads if we wanted to. We can also, of course, mark it to leads in general. So sending out bulk communications or postcards or anything like that can all be done through the marketing area of CRM. But I'm going to go ahead and qualify the lead record at this point. So I just click the qualify button. Now what's going to happen is behind the scenes is this qualification process is creating a new account record for Gander Mountain. It's creating a new contact record for Frank Goodrich. And then the third thing it's creating is an opportunity record, which again is the more tangible thing that is going to feed my pipeline reporting. Okay, and what's going to happen then is the opportunity record itself is going to appear on the screen here. So we'll just give that a second. There we go. Okay, so you maybe don't notice really any difference here other than if you look in the upper left corner, we are on an opportunity now. We are not on a lead record. Okay, but a lot of the information that I had on the lead record carried forward to the opportunity. Okay, if you notice on the ribbon up here, it also moved us to the second stage of my sales process, which is the develop stage. Now if I want to go back and view the qualifying stage, I just click this qualifying header here. What that's really going to do is take me back and show me the lead record, because the qualifying stage was really part of the lead record in my process. So if you look in the upper left corner, we're back on the Frank Goodrich lead record. And that's locked down now because now Frank is a qualified lead. So if I click back on the development stage, that's going to then take me back to the sales opportunity that I now have. At this point, I'm just going to keep working my sales process up on the top here. Fill out my steps up on the top, eventually generate a proposal, and then move it to the closing stage where I'm going to wait to see if they say yes or no. Just a couple of things here. There's some fields up on the top of my opportunity where I want to log an estimated close date. Again, I have something a little bit more tangible. This is feeding my pipeline reporting. I'm going to go ahead and put an estimated close date of 12/1. At this point, I really haven't put any products on this opportunity. I'm just kind of guesstimating that's going to be nearly a $30,000 deal at this point. Now, by doing that, this opportunity is feeding my pipeline reporting. So when my sales managers are looking at this, this is a potential sale. Now, it's going to be a little higher in the funnel because it's in the very beginning stages here, but it's a potential sale. So it's a potential sale for $30,000. I'm going to also change the topic here. The topic defaulted over as the name of the lead, which I had as the name of the conference and Frank's name here. At this point, I'm just going to call it headlamp, and I'll just say 12 of 2015. I can call it really whatever I want, but that'll give me a little clue of what this opportunity is for. Okay, I'm going to scroll down on my form here, and I have an area on my opportunity where I can now actually log line items. What are the specific products that Frank is interested in? I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a price list. In CRM, you can have multiple price lists. Now these products, it's pretty common that these products are coming from our ERP or our accounting system. Okay, it's pretty common to have CRM integrated with your accounting system. So especially if you're using a Dynamics, a Microsoft Dynamics accounting system. And that would be like GP, NAV, AX, and SL. Those are the four Microsoft Dynamics. But a CRM can integrate really to any accounting system. Now that's additional, that's not out of the box. There's software middleware that has to be installed and configured and to make the two systems talk to each other. But the point is these price lists could have came from my accounting system. So I'm going to say Gander Mountain is just, at this point, going to be just on our general price list. I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign here, and I'm going to choose an existing product that we've already defined. So these, again, would be the products from our system, our accounting system. I'm going to go ahead and choose the headlamp here, and I'm going to go ahead and give a quantity here. So Frank told me that they were interested in potentially purchasing 2,000 of these by the end of the year. Okay, that's going to calculate a price. Okay, so there's the extended amount, pretty close to 30,000, so $29,980. There's a suggestion button over here. I could suggest maybe other products that go with these headlamps to Frank. So if I click that, you'll see a little box show up here on the right-hand side that there's 2 product suggestions or cross-sell items that I've defined in CRM that go with this product. One of them is the headlamp charger to recharge the battery on the headlamps. The other one is a hat clip. So this headlamp comes with a strap that you can wear around your head, but sometimes people want to put the lamp on their hat, and so there's a clip attachment that we can use. I can quickly, if I choose pick here, and then say add to list, that's just going to add then that line item to my system here, and then I can say that maybe they want just 1,000 of the clips here, and that's going to then change my opportunity. So if you look up on the upper right here, my estimated revenue is still $30,000, and that's because that was the number that I manually typed in. Well, now that I've defined a little bit more detail around these line items, I can say that instead of using my arbitrary $30,000, let's go ahead and make this a system calculated opportunity. And if you look in the upper right corner now the opportunity estimated revenue is for $34,960 because that's the combination of these 2 line items. And you see a little lock that will show up there. Okay, so again, that's feeding our pipeline reporting. I'll show you a little bit more of the reporting in a little bit here. So that'll be one of the last things that we do. Okay. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and move this thing along the process. So again, I'm filling out my different steps. You notice that some of these steps are required. So you can make these steps required, which I did on this proposed solution. Some of these are just simply yes, no checkboxes. Have you identified who our competition is? Yes, I have. Have you estimated the number of units? And yes, I have. It's 2,000. So some of these are required, some of them are not. At this point, I'm ready to move on to the next stage. And at this point, I'm going to manually do that. I'm just going to hit this next stage button, and that then takes me to the proposed stage. Okay, and at this point, I'm going to start getting a proposal together. Well, one of the things you can do in CRM is build quotes against your opportunities. Now, we can rename anything in CRM, so if you'd rather call it proposals or agreements or whatever you want to call it, I left it the out-of-the-box name quotes. So if I scroll down a little bit more on my opportunity form here, I have a little area for quotes. Now, I haven't built any quotes yet for this opportunity, but I'm going to go ahead and build one real quick right now. So we're going to go ahead and hit the plus sign here. And what's going to open up is a new quote record, but it's taking information from this opportunity and pre-populating the quote. So the line items that we had on the quote or on the opportunity are showing up here. Of course, the customer is going to be Gander Mountain. I do want to capture other information on the quote. So you notice up on the top here, I just clicked in there. I have effective dates from and through. So this quote doesn't last forever, but they do need to make a decision by December 1st. So I'm putting effective from and through dates in there. I can record billing and shipping addresses here. I'm not going to do that just to save some time here. But again, I'm capturing some more information about the quote itself, mainly effective from and through dates and where we might ship it, maybe some payment terms, that kind of thing. This field's required, that's why I'm filling that in here. Okay, at this stage, I have a quote. Now I can activate this quote, which basically changes the status of the quote from draft to active. And I report on that. So the active quote is usually the one that the customer has in their hands. Okay. Now if they come back with some revisioning, maybe they want to add a third line item. CRM has the ability to handle the revisioning as well. If you look at this field right here, we're on quote revision 0. Okay. So if I were to revise this quote, it'll create a revision 1 and a revision 2 and a revision 3. And it keeps track of all of the revisions that we've had. So over time, I can go look and see, well, no, we started with this, but we ended up with this. So at this stage, I'm going to go ahead and activate this quote. And again, that just changes the status. It makes the quote read-only, so I cannot make any updates to it. At this point, if I want to make an update, I'd hit the revise button. Okay. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is print this quote out for the customer. Now there's a number of ways that CRM can print information. And there's really 3 different ways that I could come up with right now to print this quote out. So out of the box, CRM has mail merge functionality. It uses Microsoft Word as its engine, but I can create quote templates and design them however I want them to look and use this functionality out of the box. There's also just a quote report that I can build, and instead of using Word as the engine, I'd be using a report. But I'm going to go ahead and use the mail merge here. And I have several different quote templates defined, maybe based on what I'm trying to sell or what region I'm in. So you see I have 3 different templates that I could choose from. I'm going to go ahead and choose this quote test template, and then I'm just going to go ahead and hit download here. And basically what's happening is CRM is integrating with Microsoft Word. So if you look down here in the bottom left corner of my browser, it opened up a mail merge document. And you can see Microsoft Word opening up here. And we do have to click a few buttons to get the information to merge into the document. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to hit Enable Content. And then I'm going to go into my add-ins, which is what happened when we hit that download button. And there's a little CRM admin that gets plopped into my Word here. Now when I click that, what it's doing is going and getting the data out of CRM for that quote, and then I can merge that into my document here. So I have a pretty simple quote. These can get pretty complex if you want them to be, with all kinds of logos and kind of neat things on them. You can actually have code built behind this template that maybe hides things with certain scenarios. But you can see it's filling in who the to is Gander Mountain. You see my effective from and to dates. You see the detail behind my quote. It had 2 line items with the totals and so on. Okay, and this is what I'm going to ultimately send to the customer. At this point, I'm really waiting to hear back from the customer whether they're going to go with us or not. So my opportunity, I would probably go back to my opportunity record now and move this to the closing stage, which I just did. Okay, so if we now, I'm going to go back to my original dashboard that we started with, and we are going to look at some of the reporting that we can get out of what I've done so far. So I'm just going to click my home button here, which is Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and that's going to take me back to my home page in CRM, which is a dashboard. Well, let's start with this right-hand side. This is the chart that we looked at in the very beginning. So we had some goals, and if you recall, I didn't have any estimated revenue or anything related to the 4th quarter goal. Okay, well I do now. Okay, and if we hover over this, it's actually coming up on my other screen, so you probably can't see it, but it's telling me they have $34,960 in progress money. So in progress money is showing up in orange here. That's basically opportunities. That's a potential sale. It's not recognized revenue yet because we haven't closed that deal yet, but it's potential sale. And if I close that deal, it'll help me towards my goal. The items that are showing up in blue are closed deals. So that's actual money that we're recognizing. And when we do close a deal, you can record the actual revenue. It can also at that point integrate back to your ERP accounting system and maybe create an order in the accounting system that can be fulfilled then through the accounting system. That's part of the integration that we talked about earlier with CRM. So just a couple of the other charts that I'll show you here. Looking on the left-hand side here. So this is probably the most popular sales chart that we have in CRM. This is a sales pipeline funnel chart. So what it's doing is taking all of the opportunities. Remember, I'm a sales manager as well. And it's taking all my opportunities and basically categorizing them of what stage in my sales process they're sitting in. So if you remember my 4 stages, qualify, develop, propose, close, these are the dollars that are sitting in each stage. So the dollars that for that $34,000 that we have sitting in my opportunity for Frank is sitting in this closing stage right now. If we click on that, we can drill down from these charts, and what I'm going to do is just drill down and show them by the owner of the opportunities. I want to see who's got stuff sitting in that closing stage here. So we're just going to drill down, and I'll just do that in a pie chart just to be different. So of that total dollars in the closing stage, you notice that Daniel Nicholas has $54,000, and then, or I should say, I take that back. Daniel Nicholas has $31,000, and I, as a salesperson, have $54,000. If I pop this out to a view, I'm going to go ahead and click this button here. That'll show me all of the opportunities that make up that pie chart that we're just looking at. So there's the same pie chart, and sure enough, the Gander Mountain headlamp opportunity is part of that pie chart now because it's sitting in the closing stage. So that's probably the most popular chart. I'm just going to go ahead and click the home button to get us back to the funnel chart here. But I have a couple of other charts, just to give you a little flavor of what can we do as far as reporting on the sales process. So here I'm just counting the number of opportunities that each one of my salespeople have. Okay, no dollars involved here, just how many opportunities does Jeff have out there that are open, how many does Daniel have. You notice I also have a team defined. So in CRM we can define teams and give them ownership. So I have a team defined, Team A, and they actually are the owner of one of the opportunities. We've talked about the goal chart here. Here's the opportunities by owner, but for dollars. So it's the same as the chart above, except now I'm actually showing that in dollars. Okay, we can click on any one of these columns and drill down and look at the more details behind that. And then on the right-hand side, I'm breaking down my open opportunities by the estimated revenue, by what quarter we're expected to receive that revenue, looking at that estimated close date. So in quarter 3, which is not much left in quarter 3 here, but if we close those deals, we'll get $105,000. Quarter 4, there's my $34,000 deal. It's the only deal out there for quarter 4. Looks like I have some deals in quarter 1 of 2016 and some in quarter 2 of 2016. And then lastly, I just have a chart that's coming from the lead area. So this is just showing me, it's basically giving me a count of leads by owner. So Jeff has 9 open leads in the system. Maybe that's too many. Maybe I should reassign some of those to a different rep. But just give me a quick glimpse of how many leads are out there. So again, these are all configurable. The charts are very easy to build in CRM. Some of these are out-of-the-box charts. Some of these I just quickly kind of piggyback on an out-of-the-box one and kind of changed it up a little bit. But very, very easy to create. Okay, let me flip back to here. So that was the material that I wanted to get through. So what we kind of covered, again, we imported a bunch of leads from a trade show or from a conference. We had an automatic assignment of those leads based on product, but we talked about how that could be done by territory or zip code. We looked at the qualification process of that lead, and we logged activities from a mobile application. We then also, again, qualified that lead, which created an account, a contact, and an opportunity record. We started then working with that opportunity record to the point of actually logging line items on it. That's optional. You don't have to do that. I could have just logged that $30,000 estimated revenue and didn't have to put any line items on it. But sometimes it's important to put line items on it, especially if you're going to use a CRM system to generate a quote, which is what we did. We generated a quote from that opportunity. That brought over all the line items. I then made some revisions and edits to that quote, and then we looked at some of the potential reporting that we get out of CRM. So that kind of concludes the material. We'll open it up. I'm sure there has been some questions that have been typed in. So maybe I'll have Michael jump on here and read a couple of the questions, and we'll try to answer them.
Great. Yeah. Thank you for the great presentation, Jeff, and showing how you can really leverage that Dynamics CRM for improving sales productivity. We did get a few questions in. The first one is, can an entity have more than one process flow?
Good question. Yeah. So the question is, can an entity have more than one process flow? So back when we were on the lead or the opportunity, I'm going to just go to the opportunity here, just to bring the screen up so everybody's on the same page here. We're going to find our Gander Mountain opportunity. There it is. Okay, so what they're asking is, can we have more than one process defined, which is pretty common. You know, maybe this is a process if I'm trying to sell product A, my headlamps, but we have other product lines that the sales process might be completely different. The short answer is yes. You can have an infinite number of these processes defined. What happens though is if you have more than one process, it's going to default the user into a process, and that's by user. So maybe since I kind of work mainly with our product A, it brought the product A process up. But if Michael works with product B, it brings the product B process up, which is different. If there's any crossover, I can always come up here, and you'll notice that there's a button up here that says switch process. And if I did have more than one process defined, I don't, I only have the one. You'd see the process listed here. You just check that one and then hit select, and you'd be changing the process for that given opportunity. Okay?
Okay, awesome.
Next one, Michael.
Yeah, it is. What if you have a customer ordering 1,000 products? Is there an upload feature?
So again, the short answer is going to be yes. So we built the line items kind of by scratch, right? But remember the CRM import utility that I showed you with the leads? We can actually import data into any entity in CRM, including the opportunity products that I built by hand here on this screen. So in this little area here where I manually hit the plus sign, this is called the opportunity product entity. It's of course related to this opportunity, but we are allowed to import data into that entity. So if I had the products in a spreadsheet or something like that, yeah, I could run an import using just the out-of-the-box import utility that I kind of showed you on the lead. There would potentially could be other ways that we get products in here. I would say they would probably be more custom ways where we actually might write some code to do something like that, or maybe an integration. So if we had the list of products maybe in a different system, but we just wanted to get them on the opportunity here in CRM, maybe we integrate to that other system. So there are other ways that we could get them, but again, the short answer is yes. We could import them, we could integrate to another system to go get those.
Okay, awesome. We do have some more questions. Another one is there any way to take advantage of Inside View for on-prem deployments?
Yep, so Inside View, if you recall, was that little third-party tool that is basically gathering third-party information about companies, right? And I didn't point this out, but that little area also shows on my opportunity. Same area that we saw in the lead. Yes, it is, but you do have to pay a monthly fee for it. I don't know the fee off the top of my head. I don't think it's anything outrageous, but if you are on-premise, you can subscribe to that, hook it up to your on-premise CRM system, and get the same functionality. But there is a monthly service fee that you're paying for that.
Okay, another question we had in, and I had to believe this had to do with the different charts you were showing is, can you add a person to the middle opportunity chart, or can you create a chart for opportunities by salespersons?
Yeah, good question. So the chart that I showed you was specifically designed to, kind of for me, my role was I'm a salesperson and a sales manager. So like the goals that I see on the right here, that particular chart is my goals. It's not my team's goals. It could be my team's goals, but it's not. And this open opportunity pipeline chart is actually all of my team's open opportunities. So the short answer again is yes, these charts are configurable. If I pull this list down here, I have many other dashboards that I can go to, and each one of these dashboards have different charts and views on them. I probably have overkill. Normally you wouldn't have this many, but we also allow the users to create their own chart and throw the objects on there. Now it follows the CRM security model in that if I'm trying to add a chart on my dashboard that I don't have rights to view that information in CRM, I'm not going to see that. So again, short answer is yes, we can design other system charts to kind of be specific to certain individuals, or we allow the users to create their own.
Okay, what is the major difference between opportunity or quote? Do you see any con in going straight to quotes and skipping opportunities?
Good questions. These are ones that normally you don't get. So really, the main difference is, the level of reporting. An opportunity is what's feeding the out-of-the-box sales funnel chart that we're looking at. Now I can just navigate right to quotes, and you're going to see a list of the quotes that are out there, one of them being our headlamp quote. And there's a new button right here, and I could build a new quote and completely bypass the opportunity area. So I don't know if I can really come up with advantages or disadvantages other than I can say this, most of our customers that use Dynamics CRM and use the sales functionality do use opportunities, but not all of them take it to the next level of quoting. And there's many reasons why they don't. Either they got a third-party quoting system that's more complex than what I was doing, or they just quote out of Excel or Word or something like that. But again, you could completely bypass the opportunity, just put your quotes into CRM, and you can get reporting off them. That funnel chart that I had could just as well be built off the quote entity. Now I got to go build that chart off the quote entity, whereas the opportunity already has that funnel chart out of the box, but that's not a big task. So again, you could do that, and again, there's really not an advantage or disadvantage to doing it. In my company, I'm using both, right? I put an opportunity in. Sometimes I don't even get to the point where I build a quote. The opportunity gets killed before that even happens. So in my company, I use both.
Okay, thank you. We have about 3 more currently. So which of the charting options are out of the box and which are defined or designed by you?
Boy, you're testing my memory now. For the most part, this funnel chart is out of the box. This goal one is out of the box. Now I do got to go define a goal. So the goals are user definable. This goal was based off, revenues from closed and open opportunities. So I did have to find that goal, but the chart itself is from the goal entity and out of the box. I believe I did create these counts by owner and revenue by owner. They were very, very easy to create. I bet I could create one in under 5 minutes. So very, very easy to create. There's a tool. These charts natively live on the entity itself. So if I navigate to opportunities, and it's got to get this out of the way, you'll see the charts appear on the right-hand side here. And again, CRM comes with a handful of system charts. These are all out of the box, but I've gone in and created, as a user, some of my own charts that I threw on those dashboards. So I don't know if that answers the question completely, but it doesn't take long to create a chart. You just hit this plus sign, kind of put your axis information on here. What are we going to be summing up? Are we counting, or are we summing up the estimated revenue, and how are we breaking it down? And that's really it. It doesn't take much to build one of those charts.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And the last couple here is, can a list of products be added to a price list, or does the price list need to be defined prior to creating the list of products?
Yeah, so the way I did it, I chose the price list, and then when I hit the plus sign to add the products, those are the products that were on that price list. So it does have to be predefined. Now there is such a thing as a write-in product. I did not show you that, but when I hit that plus sign on my opportunity, there was an option to just put a write-in product. Well, there I could have just typed a description, gave it my own price, my own quantity, and it calculates out. But if you're going to pick existing products, they do have to be contained on a price list in order to be used.
Okay, perfect. And the last one we got here is with 2015 on-premise, when I click on a module, I have to scroll across to get to an entity. Is there an update ready for that fix for the on-premise version?
Yep, so what you're talking about, I'm very familiar with because this is one of my favorite features. So this menu that you see right now, when I pull sales down, is new. This is part of the Service Pack 1 to 2015. It's also referred to by Microsoft as the Spring Wave 2015. Okay, that is only available today in the online version of CRM. It is set to be released in the fall of 2015 for on-premise. I haven't heard any finalized dates on that yet, but I guess the point is, sometime in the next couple of months here, we should be able to install a service pack on your on-premise and get this menu style. So your menu style is just different, and when you pull the sales menu down, you see bigger tiles. And to get to all of these individual tiles that I'm pointing to, you got to scroll across the page kind of using this button right here. Now, when you do that, you sometimes you get off the menu and then it disappears like this. So just a little tip for you that don't have the spring wave, you can use your mouse wheel to go back and forth between the two pages of tiles, or in your case you might have more than 2 pages. So just something to be maybe a helpful tip until you get that spring wave. But yeah, this feature here was one of my favorites that came about in the spring wave. Just the menu. It just makes navigation much easier. Is
Okay,
that it, Michael?
that was the last one we had. So
Well,
yeah,
let me just briefly say, and then I'll let you kind of close things out here. But going back to my very first slide, I just want you to see my email address again. So if anybody has any questions after we hang up here, or if your question didn't get read or something like that, by all means, feel free to shoot me an email. There's my email address right there, and I can answer it kind of one-off whenever you get a chance to email me. Other than that, thanks everybody for joining. I'll let Michael kind of say some parting words, and then we'll end the webinar.
yeah, just a little heads up, we will be sending out a follow-up email tomorrow. It will contain a link with a recording for the webinar, because I know a lot was covered today. We're also going to have an offer for a sales promo and a free trial offer if any of you guys do want to kind of experience CRM yourselves. And with that, just behalf of behalf of everyone at Interdyne BMI, we just wanted to thank you for your attendance and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.